Hey everybody, this is Squares of the Round Table Podcast, episode number 8. That's Ocho. Wording.
Mambo numero ocho.
Over there's Ivan.
Is that like the ESPN Ocho? Is that what we're talking about now?
Mambo numero ocho.
There's no Mambo numero ocho.
No?
I don't think so.
I don't think I'll ever get over Macho Grande.
Macho Grande. That's phenomenal. I like it with beef rather than chicken or steak. And if I can get a large screen.
I like Nacho Grandes with beef. They're great.
And that's Ivan. How you doing, Ivan?
Doing good. How we doing there, Mike? How we doing there, Jeff?
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm sitting here playing with my kitty over here.
Yikes.
Okay.
Hey, Marley. How you doing?
Apparently not a family show today.
Oh, Athena.
Why? I'm talking about my cat, man. I mean, you know, sitting here. I'm got the bell, and he's just playing with it.
Yeah, we hear the bell. We hear the bell.
Okay, there you go. All right, now you're going to take that to the bathroom, aren't you?
Your cat's okay with a collar?
He hasn't got a collar yet, so.
What's the bell on?
Oh, the bell's on this wand that I got that I swing around, and he kind of swipes at it and, jumps up for it and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And now he just stuck it in his mouth, and he just went to his favorite place. He sleeps in the bathtub.
Okay.
Yeah, well, no.
My cat sometimes sits in the sink.
Yes,
yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, Marley does that, too. Yeah. He likes to get into the refrigerator. He likes to jump into the freezer. He's a very strange cat, but you know what? Love that cat. And, so anytime he gets a play toy, he ends up taking it over to the bathtub. And when I'm about to go take a shower, I look down and there's his little kitty balls and his little, playthings and his little wands, his bells, whatever.
Okay.
All this ephemera,
Well, some kitties don't have balls to play with.
Nope.
Nope.
That would make them women.
Should get that done in about 8 weeks. Usually.
Oh.
When they're 8 weeks old, usually.
When they're 8 weeks old, you knock them right off, huh?
That's right.
He still has his yet, so I gotta go ahead and get his done. He's looking at me like, no, you don't. I mean, he hasn't sprayed or nothing, so he's been cool.
Okay. Does he get into heat? I mean, does he have problems with when he gets into heat?
No. Actually, he's been very mellow. Actually, I haven't had any episodes where he's kind of like meowing wildly or going through KMS or anything like that.
AMS.
KMS.
I love that rap group.
Kitty Minstrel Syndrome.
Really? We're really going here, aren't we? How we're starting the show.
So how was your weekend, Jeff?
How was your weekend, Jeff?
How was my weekend?
He's smiling.
Apparently, I didn't have to deal with kitty minstrels.
Did I put you out?
No, apparently you put it out. What did I do this weekend?
That's why I'm asking.
I don't know. It was kind of a quiet weekend. Other than I was out at Windy City Professional Speakers, and I tried out a possible new piece about promoting how to better do Facebook Lives than what I see out there, than the people who stumble and bumble. I got some interesting feedback. We'll see if it's something I can do for profit later on. I think tomorrow I'm gonna go. I just signed up for the AMC Stubs thing, and it's $5 Tuesday. I'm torn between whether to go see Jurassic World 2 or to see Incredibles 2.
Made another 80 million this weekend. Incredibles.
Yeah, I know. I saw it again yesterday with Jules.
That's cool.
See it. Oh, you mean you mean Incredibles, not Jurassic World?
No, Jurassic World made 150 million last weekend.
Yeah.
Big bucks, no whammies.
What are they saying? 715 million worldwide.
Yeah, that's crazy money.
Yeah, no, it's
by no means a failure, that's for sure.
Oh no,
that's pretty good. It's pretty good for for an enterprise, that's had what? This is like their third or fourth movie already?
This is the second Jurassic World. I think this is like the fifth Jurassic Park.
Yeah, well, I feel I guess they kind of reset. Well, I wouldn't say they reset, but they certainly restarted it in some way.
Yeah.
Because they didn't get rid of the previous continuity, but they certainly made some changes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I can find box office numbers.
Yeah, but it's like not very good, like trending in the 60s, I think, on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's like not great, but it's far from certified fresh, that's for sure. So, good on them. And Jurassic World is not my thing. I saw the last one, was it 3 years ago, and it's like, okay, I'm done. I don't need to see another Jurassic World thing.
It just recycles the whole thing with different circumstances.
So, given the choice, Jeff, between Jurassic World and Incredibles 2, I'd say go see Incredibles 2.
Go see Incredibles 2.
I gotta be honest, there's a third choice that I'm looking at, which is there's a part of me where I wouldn't mind seeing Avengers Infinity War again before it leaves the theater.
When's it coming on DVD? I think in September?
What?
September.
I think it's coming in DVD in September.
Yeah, I hate to say it, for what it's going to cost to either rent it or I don't know that I need to buy the DVD. I would be just as happy to go see it in the theater again for a second time for $5. So I'm kind of there. Jurassic World did about 148 million domestic.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. They're saying there was about 170 million budget, so it'll probably exceed that. Number 2 is Incredibles. Incredibles now at about 349 million domestic.
Yeah, highest grossing debut weekend for an animated film in history.
Yeah.
Amazing.
No, it was incredible.
But well worth it.
Yeah.
Not amazing, incredible.
Yep.
Incredible.
It is incredible.
Ocean's 8. Ocean's 8. Is it the third week out or is it the second week out? Ocean's 8 it is week number 3. It's week number 3 for Ocean's 8, and they have crossed 100 million, which not bad, not bad.
No, not bad.
And then Deadpool 2 has crossed 300 million. See, this is where I laugh because Solo is at 202 million. That is because of all the things that they've done. That's considered and from a box office perspective, a failure. And yet, Ocean's 8 is not considered a failure. So it's at about 100 million. So, there you go. I don't know.
Well, do you think that the studios between Solo and Ocean's 8 made their money back?
Solo, definitely not.
I think they will in the end. I think that. I think in the end they will, Mike. I think that there will be enough.
Well, not
people.
yet, no, but maybe it will eventually, but it hasn't yet.
I think on rentals and DVDs and all that stuff, I think at the end of the day they'll.
I think Solo, for what it is, I think it's going to probably garner more money in DVD sales than it did at the box office. It's going to be a gradual slide up for Solo. As far as Ocean's 8 on the other side of the coin, if for the money and everything, if I had a choice between the two, I'd probably go with Ocean's 8. Because Solo, for what it is, by and large, a lot of people panned it, and it didn't.
Well, it's weird because it's not. It's very strange because it's like I don't know if did people really pan it. I don't think they did. I think they just said it was, it was a good movie. It wasn't a great movie, and I can go along with that. I can sit there and say, yeah, was it the greatest movie ever? No, it's not the greatest Star Wars movie ever, but it was a solid movie and was a solid story, and I enjoyed it for 2 hours, and I thought it was worthwhile.
Agreed.
Okay, yeah. Okay, sorry. Mike, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I agree with Jeff. It was good. It wasn't great.
Right. And I think that that's unfortunate. I think Well, we've talked a little bit about this too. That there seems to, there's also backlash from Last Jedi it's taking a hit for that. I think the other thing it's taking a hit from was at one point in production they did switch out who the directors were, and I think that didn't help things either. And when you combine all those things with the fact that when Deadpool 2 moved into basically being a week before before Solo, I think that they should have figured out that they needed to move. And
I think maybe in this case, I think if Solo was released before Deadpool, it might have fared better than the other way around.
Well, there's that too. Or, it's funny. If Solo's later in the summer, I think things are different. Again, there's a lot of aspects here. I think there's a lot of moving parts, and it's unfortunate because I have a feeling that means we're not going to see any more Han Solo or Han Solo movies, whichever way you want to go. I don't think we're going to see any more, and that's too bad because I think there are some more movies that can and will be done and should be done, but unfortunately we're not going to see them. That's too bad.
Not right away. They're going to focus on episode 9, and then they'll start another trilogy, and hopefully in a few years, maybe we'll get some more single one-off stories like Boba Fett or Kenobi.
Well, and here's the irony of that, which is the person who's getting that trilogy is the guy who a lot of the people who are upset about is the writer for it, or the creator for it, which is going to be Rian Johnson.
Yep.
So it's funny. Okay, well, there's going to be another trilogy. Well, if you want to hate on something, there you go. That's where you sit there and go, you know what? I'm not willing to give you my money because I didn't like your last product. Why did?
Well, at least you're going to address it with some scrutiny the next time around. I mean, it's going to be that thing where, okay, yeah, it was a good movie. Is it going to be yet another good movie, or is he actually going to, shake his tail feathers with his computer and and write something that's going to be over the top? And who knows, it might be amazing.
Well, I think it's interesting because if I'm, here's where I would be nervous. Rian Johnson has been, in my opinion, a little defiant with the fans who didn't like what he did. And he's been more than happy to take them to task, whether they be, and when I say that doesn't necessarily mean the ones who have been bigoted and racist, even the ones who questioned what he wrote, and he's dismissed them to no end. And this is the guy you put the hand of the franchise in, not for the next movie, which is episode 9. You put it back in J.J. Abrams' hands. You put the next 3 movies, your next big trilogy, you put it in this guy's hands. And I think that's and the funny part is, I'm curious of whether Star Wars fans will really have a long memory to remember that or not, or if they're just going to go, well, we took it out on Solo, and then everything's fine.
Well, if they go ahead and they measure the worth of Solo on its own merit, and then don't take that attitude into the trilogy, and if it's already being passed back to the other person, it might fare better than the fate of what happened with Solo, don't you think?
I don't know, Ivan. I'm kind of curious. I think that's what they're nervous about, is this going to carry over into Episode 9? Are they going to have problems like this with Episode 9? I think at the end of the day, I think they'll make their numbers, because there's simply enough Star Wars fans out there that will go to see the movie no matter what, because it's Star Wars. I think because this was an offshoot movie, and there were so many of these little things that added up to being an issue. And it's funny because there will be fans that will triumph that we did it, and I don't think that was all of it here. I think this was a perfect storm. I think there were issues in production in the beginning. I think Deadpool moving into the slot that it moved into didn't help. I think that you had these fanboys who did this revolt, and you just
Then of course you had the directors. When you're switching out directors, that also is a wrench throw in any project, because the continuity's not there. I mean, I mean, a case in point, all right? I mean, just for a couple of seconds, if I may. You know, when you go ahead.
I'm timing you.
What now?
I'm timing you. Let's go.
Okay, so when you go ahead and you talk about directors changing, case in point, Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz went through 4 directors to create the entire motion picture. Okay, ended up being, a great success, but it became a greater success once it became re-released, and then even more so when it went to television. Now, you got Solo, which you got 2 directors that,
Well, 3 technically.
Or 3 directors, okay.
Well, the 2 co-directors and the guys that did the Lego movie, and then they were let go because of the usual, quote, creative differences, and then they brought in Ron Howard, so.
Right.
Okay, so Ron Howard was handled as ball of wax and has been left to try to do something with it. Now, is Ron Howard versed in the entire Star Wars situation? I don't know. I can't say. But when you go ahead and you hand something like that to someone who may not be as versed in the whole Star Wars universe, there are going to be issues. There are going to be problems.
I'm going to kind of take a disagreement there with you, which is...
Well, no. Well, go ahead. I mean, that's...
Because you're talking about Ron Howard. You're talking about a guy who has created numerous great movies. We're talking...
Oh, no. I'm not disputing.
But my point is, when you have a director like that, I don't think the movie was in bad hands. I think the movie was in... At that point, I think the movie was in very good hands. And I'm not saying that the Lego guys were screwing it all up. I don't know, okay? But I know this. I know that when I heard that Ron Howard was going to be involved, I felt a lot more comfortable as a fan because, this is somebody who I know has done great movies. And it's funny, as much as everyone's saying that this movie is underperformed, here's the interesting part. This is the highest grossing movie that Ron Howard has ever done.
Okay. Now, just let me interject. Okay, I wasn't saying that Ron Howard was inept or that he didn't, I'm not saying that he was a bad director. No, don't take it like that. Because, let's face it, anything that Ron Howard's ever done has turned to gold. Let's face it.
Well, not everything. A bit close, yeah.
Well, okay. Let's give it 95%. Let's play devil's advocate here. Okay? But then, I'm just saying... Like that would be just like, you got the Lego guys who know the gist of what this is all about. Then you bring Ron Howard in, and it's just like, okay, I got this movie. All right, now I can only hope to do what I can do with it, but I'm hoping, too, that it could be something that's going to be, as good, if not better, than anything I've ever done. Those are very big shoes to fill. That's what I'm talking about.
I guess. I mean, if anything, to me, and maybe it's just perspective, which is, if anything, I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like, okay, Ron Howard, he has a track record of amazing movies, and I think that this will make it a better movie because we're getting Ron Howard versus the Lego guys who they've done the Lego movies, and sure, the Lego movies are fun, but was he? I don't know. I don't feel like he was stepping into big shoes here at all. I feel like this is you're talking about Ron Howard. I think he's one of the.
Well, okay, because you got the whole franchise of Star Wars. That's a very big franchise,
right? But you're talking okay. All right, so. You think that the Lego guys had a better handle on Star Wars than Ron Howard?
No, I'm not saying
but
that the Lego guys... No. I'm not saying that the Lego guys would have done a better job. Mm-hmm. I'm saying that the Lego guys might have been more intuitive to what happens within the Star Wars genre, unlike maybe Ron Howard is intuitive to what's happening in the Star Wars, franchise and everything. Okay, I'm just guesstimating that.
Well, right, but Ivan, the point I'm getting at is based on what I saw from the movie, I think he got it just fine. I think that at the end of the day, though, he did the best that he could with the script that he had, and walking into this secondhand instead of firsthand. If Ron Howard had started this project from the get-go, I have no question that this movie would have been phenomenal. I think that the fact that he walked in when he did, the fact that the movie is as good as it is great. It's kind of funny because there's an interesting parallel that's recent, and that movie didn't fare well either, which was Justice League. Which is you had Zack Snyder who had filmed most of the movie, and then Warner's got rid of Zack Snyder so that they could get Joss Whedon, and Joss Whedon went in there and tried to fix the movie. It was still a giant cluster, but I do feel like now there are some people who sit there and say that they want to see the Zack Snyder cut. I think there might be 20 people, but I'm happy the fact that Joss Whedon tried to clean up what I think would have been a gigantic mess.
Okay.
And so to me, both of those movies took a hit because of changes in the middle. And I wonder, because it's funny, like you said, Ivan, at the beginning about The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz had 4 different directors and to get it in and get it out. Here's the interesting part. Do you think at any point in time in what we talk about from a mainstream perspective, do you think at any point in time anyone talked about, well, they had 4 directors, so that's got to be a problem. Maybe I shouldn't see the movie. Versus today, if you heard something like that, it'd be in entertainment news. It'd be all over the place. People would be worried. People would be worried sick. People would be nervous about it. People would be sitting there going, I don't know, this movie's sounds like it's in trouble. And there'd be all of this too, stigmatism put to it. And and already before the movies even come out, people have an opinion on a movie they haven't really even seen yet.
Well, this is true. It gets mired in stigma, even before, the opening credits, you know what I mean? So that being said, yeah, okay, maybe, for what it's worth, yeah, okay, a good movie. And, okay, I'm not going to dismiss it, not going to say not going to see it. I'll probably go and see it. But as far as, like, the fans in the whole, franchise of Star Wars and everything, does it measure as much, or is it like the weakest link? Is it like what? What's
middle of the road. I'd say it's not as bad as Attack of the Clones for sure.
Okay, well, I'm looking for what the relevance of it is.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, Mike, that you went there, because for all of the
if Ivan's talking about the fans, we're just measuring it as a Star Wars movie.
Right. But I think it's interesting you went and talked about Attack of the Clones, and the reason why is
you don't like sand?
Well, no. No, I like it better than ice. I'll tell you that, and snow. But I think it's interesting that you brought it up, because when you stop and think about it, it wasn't like everyone was real happy with 1 through 3. There were a lot of people who weren't happy with 1 through 3 when Lucas put those out. There were a lot of complaints about it. It's just a different time with social media and where we are with instant news and instant gratification on some of this stuff, where you didn't have Rotten Tomatoes and a Rotten Tomatoes score or all this
and
stuff.
We didn't have social media either.
Right.
If the prequels came out this year, Hayden Christensen would have been forced off of Instagram.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and everybody was making bad jokes about Hayden Christensen and from Attack of the Clones about how wooden he was and how he's not a good actor when he's done plenty of things and been a very good actor. But it's crazy because, I remember all the jokes. There's the entire Simpsons episode where they pan Phantom Menace, where they talk about where it's all about laws and politics and stuff, and everybody's like, this isn't Star Wars, this is lame. There was a lot of that. Yeah. It's a different time and a different place, and it's funny because as much as everybody's complaining about these movies, there were people complaining about those movies, and they were complaining loudly. The difference is that it seems as though they were more than willing to still go to the box office to go watch them.
So the moral of this story is fans complain, just like what you like.
Yeah, I think
just base it upon yourself to see it. opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
Unless we're talking about the Zack Snyder Batman v Superman, in which case your opinion is wrong if you like it. Your opinion is wrong if you like it. That's all I'm going to say. You're wrong. You're crazy. I'm sorry. There are certain things that cannot be looked at any other way. But hey, as long as we're in a weird spot, and you are listening to the Squares of the Roundtable podcast, that is Ivan Rivera. I'm Jeff Stein, and with us is of course Mike Boyle.
Hi.
I feel like this is a good place to. I posted this on the Squares of the Roundtable podcast site. I saw Mike already liked it. This is the craziest thing I've ever read, and of course, this is a story from Florida, and we have to talk about this. This is just so crazy. Okay. The headline is Florida couple arrested for selling tickets to heaven. A couple in Florida, Tito and Amanda Watts, were arrested a few days ago for selling golden tickets to heaven to hundreds of people. They sold the tickets on the street for $99.99 per ticket, told the buyers the tickets were made from solid gold, and that each ticket reserved the buyer a spot in heaven. Simply present the ticket at the pearly gates, and you are in.
Oh my God!
Wait, it gets worse than this, but this is funny.
It gets better, Ivan.
It gets better, but let's stop and think about this shit. Let's take this segment by segment, shall we?
Okay.
First of all, just present how are you going to present the ticket? You're dead.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly how does that work? Osmosis? What, you put an app in your head and it goes, bink, there it is. There it is, God, I got a ticket, we're good.
You carry it with, your spirit carries it with them.
Ow!
I don't know. I mean, put it this way. I mean, that's got to be a perfect trick. I hope that spirit's got mighty powers. I mean, like that movie Ghost and everything. You have to put the mind into it to hold anything.
I don't know. Wait. So as Mike, any thoughts on this? How do they get it to happen?
I want to read the police statement.
You want to go further? Okay. We told you this gets better.
All right.
Listening.
Tito Watts said in his police statement, I do not care what the police say. The tickets are solid gold, and it was Jesus who gave them to me behind the KFC and told me to sell them so I could get me some money to go to outer space. I met an alien named Stevie who said if I got the cash together, he would take me and my wife in his flying saucer to his planet that is entirely made of drugs. You should arrest Jesus because he is the one who gave me the golden tickets. I am willing to wear a wire and set Jesus up.
What? What the what? What in the name? What in the name of Fats Wallet? What?
That's all verbatim.
That's verbatim.
Oh my gosh!
That's verbatim.
Some people ingest way too many drugs, man. Whew.
You know what?
What gets me is that the people bought the tickets.
Wait, no. What? No, wait. So let's unpack this, shall we? Okay. By the way, Mike, I appreciate that you read it, and that voice was priceless.
That was great.
Let's unpack this, shall we? People bought tickets to go to heaven from a guy who got them from Jesus behind the KFC. Behind the KFC. Because that's where I always get tickets from Jesus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Behind the KFC. Actually, that's not true. Behind the White Castle, right? Or the Hardee's. Or maybe it's the Steak and Shake. It depends on the time of day.
Or if they still have a hamburger heaven, maybe that'd make more sense.
Maybe if you got yourself a small cone from Culver's, you actually got an additional price cut from the ticket.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about this more, the more I'm thinking about this, it could not have been the KFC. And if it is the KFC, and that's where Jesus was, what does that say about Chick-fil-A?
Ouch.
Yeah, Jesus prefers KFC over Chick-fil-A?
Apparently, Jesus likes KFC over Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
I mean, here they are, and they're following God's will.
Maybe Jesus was on his way to Chick-fil-A.
Maybe. But he stopped at the KFC for what? A little parfait bucket?
Obviously, just to drop off the tickets to Tito.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he can get into outer
One
space.
of the baskets.
These guys just trying to get outer space, man. Just give him a break.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, Jesus ate all the chicken and he handed all the tickets to the guy in the same bucket that the chicken came in.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, so all right. So and then
Jesus love KFC. There's a bumper waiting in there.
Yeah. Well, there's your Happy Meal for you.
There's a bumper sticker happening there. Jesus loves KFC.
Jesus loves KFC, and apparently not Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Apparently not Chick-fil-A.
They still say all the 11 herbs and spices, and 10 of them are salt.
Oh, wow! There we go.
Well, I'm sure, Mr. Alien Man has share of herbs and spices already to come up with that kind of a story.
Well, okay, so we should get to the other part of this full on quote.
Right. Now, in her police statement.
Wait. No. I want to unpack this a little bit more.
Okay. All right.
I want to unpack this a little bit more because
there's the luggage case open. He's still
there's so much more here that in just his statement alone. Like, for example, the fact that they're going to a planet entirely made of drugs. And of course, the guy's name is Stevie, because Moonbeam would be too obvious.
Yeah.
There's something along those lines. I don't know. I think the best part of this is the last two lines. You should arrest Jesus because he's the one who gave me the golden tickets, and I am willing to wear a wire to set up Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to set up Jesus. That's what we're up to now.
I'm going to set up Jesus. I'm going to bring Jesus down.
Yeah. I just want to see how this works. How exactly do you sting Jesus? Mm-hmm. What do you do? There's so much here. I mean, it's like he's so...
I mean, put it this way. He's going to go back to the KFC with this wire and his bucket and whatever remainder tickets he still has.
Uh-huh.
And he's going to try to show these police that Jesus is going to give them... Jesus was the one that gave him these tickets. He's going to sit there like Linus in the pumpkin patch, waiting for the great pumpkin.
Oh, yeah. Wait, by the way, Ivan, we're not done yet.
I'm listening.
We're not done with this story. Do you want to continue this, Mike, or do you want me to do it?
You go ahead and finish, Jeff.
In her police statement, Amanda Watt said, "We were just trying to leave Earth and go to space and do drugs. I did not do anything. Tito sold the golden tickets to heaven. I just watched." We haven't gotten to the best part.
Oh, this is too good.
Wait.
You can make this stuff up? Go ahead.
Wait, it gets better.
You can't make this stuff up.
This can't be made up. This is the last line of the entire article.
Okay.
They say they confiscated over $10,000 in cash, drug paraphernalia, and wait for it, a baby alligator.
Uh-huh. Okay, folks. Somebody called the loony bin. The inmates have left the asylum. Oh, my gosh. But you know what blows my mind, though?
Which part? Which part blew your mind, Ivan?
What part blows my mind is not as much the fact that these guys actually got away with selling golden tickets to the people. But what was more amazing was that all the people that bought the tickets thinking they were going to go to heaven at $99.99 a pop. What have we gotten to, folks? What has this country gotten to?
It tells me one of two things. Either we're doing something very, very wrong, or we're not meeting the right people who are dumb enough to pay for things that we want.
And meanwhile, on the other side of the spectrum, you've got This story broke a day or two ago about an
Wait,
8-year-old
hold on,
girl.
one more thing. I have a question for both of you.
Yeah.
What the hell is the baby alligator for?
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice?
Co-pilot
Sacrifice.
to the spaceship.
Maybe. He carries the luggage. I have no idea. Maybe he becomes the luggage. I have no idea.
Maybe
Yeah.
in case the aliens are reptile people, that maybe the baby alligator can communicate with them like a translator.
I have no idea. I
The
just
alligator aliens, and the alligator is the only animal that can translate what they're saying.
maybe.
And then he turns into a briefcase.
Okay, so the other side of the spectrum, what do you got, Mike?
Is this story out of Houston? This 8-year-old girl selling water out of her apartment building.
Oh, I
So
have-
this stupid housewife calls the cops on her. So 8-year-old girl selling water on a hot day, and this woman just calls the cops on her. Just because. Just people are stupid.
No, people have nothing else better to do. They're bored.
Now, people are just the exact same people are, just bored. They're just unhappy people. I think that's what
Yeah.
comes of it.
They got nothing else better to do than to
But to
stir
make
the
other
pot.
people's lives miserable.
Exactly,
So
because
I saw
they're
a kid
miserable.
selling water on the street on a hot day. I'm like, hey, good luck. Maybe even buy one because just whatever. But now we've gotten to this point where you're going to call the cops, see if it's legal. You need a permit. You need whatever the health department to come in and certify the water. It's such bullshit.
Yeah, well, it's
Like
a bunch
I had a
of crap.
lemonade stand as a kid. Did you have a lemonade stand, Ivan?
Yes, I did. I did have a lemonade stand. In fact, I sold lemonade and I sold Kool-Aid.
What kind of Kool-Aid?
Well, I sold strawberry and I sold cherry and strawberry Kool-Aid.
How about the one with the vodka?
No, that was what I had after I got in the house. No, I'm just kidding. But no, but I did sell, lemonade, and I did sell, Kool-Aid and stuff like that. It was no big deal. Everybody in the neighborhood did that. That was right up there with Bill Jackson's muscular dystrophy, circuses for that type of cause too. I mean, this is what you did as a kid. This is what you do. I mean, we got guys out here on the street, in the middle of the street with water bottles at the intersection selling bottled water because that's the only way they can get any money. I mean, come on now, really?
Oh,
And then an 8-year-old kid, really? I mean, how do we get to this, folks? We're calling out everybody.
okay.
Everybody's calling out everybody.
People got to
Why?
learn to be
Because-
nice to each other.
Well, people, you got miserable people that can't stand people to be happy, so they do things to make sure that they're as miserable as they are. And the beat goes on.
Speaking of beats,
Yes.
Were you going somewhere with this?
yeah, I was going somewhere with this. The beats of Johnny B.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he ended up getting into the Hall of Fame,
Yeah,
right?
congratulations to Jonathan Brandmeier for his
For his entrance.
Radio Hall of
into
Fame. Yep.
Really?
Radio Hall of Fame, yep.
Yep, he's going in. I remember
And
listening to
actually-
Johnny B when I was in driver's ed.
All right. I'm going to say it. I think he's overrated.
He's funny. He's entertaining.
I think he's one of the most overrated radio guys in the history of radio. And I'm not saying he hasn't earned it. I just felt like I don't know. I never liked him. I was never a fan. I didn't get as much as everybody else was. I never saw it, or I never seemed to get it.
I was never super into him, but I was like, he was entertaining. He did his job.
Well, I mean, you could be fans of Steve Dahl and Gary Myers, but then after Gary Myers, Steve Dahl just would go ahead and start talking.
Yeah, that's the Steve Day. Yeah, I hear you at that.
And dude, you should have retired 10 years before that whole mangled situation where
Well,
the
he's still
radio
on,
station got to
He's
the
still on.
studio.
He's still on LS? No.
On LS in the afternoons because
Yeah.
they can't freaking.
He's had
find
that stint for a
anybody.
long time.
They're still paying him to be on the air.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
still on.
Yeah.
Yeah, here, and then of course you got, Dick Biondi, who's an institution all onto himself, and he was kicked to the curb.
Well, but it's a different. It's
How's it different?
because it's gotten to the point where with Dick Biondi, I don't know. I can't. Keep in mind, LS is a talk station. Dick Biondi was always a radio DJ, and oldies is not the same oldies as it used to be. I don't remember who I was talking to.
But you got to remember something there, Jeff. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for Dick Biondi, there would be no WLS. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
That's a different time and a different place, Ivan. WLS is incredibly different now. They don't.
Oh, I know they're incredibly different now, but what I'm saying is you got these people. Okay, yeah, Jonathan Brandmeier, okay. I can't say that, I followed him implicitly. No. From time to time, I would listen. I found him entertaining. He was all good, for when the moment struck me while I was listening. Biondi, on the other side of the coin, being the music radio man that he was and everything, and yeah, he was kind of a constant thing happening throughout the course of my life, but he was always good and everything, especially his very, checkered past for the things he did was very funny. I'm sure Gary Myers and Steve Dahl took notes from him because of the stunts that he would pull in all the radio stations he got.
Who was that other guy on the loop? Kevin Matthews. Growing up, it was Kevin Matthews, Johnny B, and Danny Bonaducci.
Right.
On the loop.
And Chet Kopic at night doing sports.
Yeah. But I read Feeder's article, and Johnny B is the only one out of this. Only the fourth Chicago radio personality to make it to the Hall of Fame.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
Eric and Kathy, and then
that's
John Records Landecker.
There's no way. There's no way Bob Collins or Wally Phillips is not in the Radio Hall of Fame.
The National Radio Hall of Fame.
Right. Wait, hold on. We got to find the National Radio Hall of Fame. Hold on a second.
Go to Feeder's article.
I see Feeder's article, but I'm going to go there because I want to see. See. I mean, this is ridiculous. I'm sorry. Ivan, would you buy that?
Only.
No, I don't think so. You had Jay Andres and Wally Phillips. We had a lot of fabulous people in this city that would be befitting to that Hall of Fame.
Hold on, let's see something. No, Wally Phillips is in the National Radio Hall of Fame. He's here. I see his name.
Okay.
He's in. It may be recently that's been the case where there have been names that haven't been added. Hold on. If he's here, he's got to be here. Right? Yeah, Bob Collins. Bob Collins is here.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just a recent thing where some of the more recent names haven't been put in there.
There's John Records Landecker and Eric and Kathy, according to the Feeder article.
All right, now my thing is, okay, Eric and Kathy. Well, now just Eric because Kathy, got shown the door because of her greedy self.
Do we know that for a fact, though? Because we don't really know what the hell the story is with that.
Yeah, I do know that for a fact. I know that for a fact that she was holding out for more money.
Yeah,
and
maybe just holding out for equal pay.
She was holding for equal pay, though, Ivan, supposedly. That supposedly he's getting paid more than she is.
Well, you know what? What I understand was
the whole wage gap thing. 79 cents on the dollar. It sucks.
Yeah, and I get it. But the thing was that one, Kathy, for most of her career was on the coattails of Eric. Okay, Eric brought her in and everything. Sight unseen because of the fact that she had no previous broadcast knowledge or any type of repartee as far as what was going on the air. Basically, Eric brought her in and said, okay, here's your headphones, let's fly. And according to the radio station, okay, Eric was the stronger suit. So that's why.
But Ivan, how many years was that duo together? How many years? It's got to be more than 10, right?
No, at least 10, 15 years.
At some point, she might have been the neophyte, but at some point, if that's the case, then you call it the Eric whatever. I don't even remember what his last name is, but you call it the Eric whatever show and the Eric Ferguson show, and just make her a bit player. If you're going to call it the Eric and Kathy show, yeah, I would think that she should get equally paid.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, she should get equally paid. No, I'm not. I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you what happened in that case in point, and maybe what the station was thinking. Because you, as Mike know, radio business is a very strange animal.
Oh, it's a screwed up business. There's a reason why it's a screwed up business, and the reason we know it's a screwed up business is a perfect example of what we're talking about. I mean, you and I worked for a place where they were looking to. This is my all-time favorite. I think we can talk about this now. We were working for a station that was trying to launch Motown for white people, in which they decided that the best way that they could go about that was to bring in, and this is in the late 90s, they're bringing in Fred Winston and Robert Murphy, guys who haven't even been in the market in a while, just because they want name market recognition. But those guys haven't been popular in ages. Okay,
yeah, the whole Heart and Soul debacle. Mm-hmm. Okay, and me being very deep into that whole debacle. Mm-hmm. I mean, with Mr. Kevin Q there, who decided to take and rip off my playlist and then put his name on it.
Yeah.
And then
I still remember that day. Where you were sitting in your apartment and you're like, you looked at the time and you sat there and said, okay, here are the next 5 songs that you're going to hear. And then you turned on Heart and Soul on 103.1, and literally the next 5 songs were exactly that. And then an hour later, you came back to me and basically said, and here are going to be the next 5 songs that you're going to hear, and they were the same. And that to me is the biggest. It was like clockwork. It was like they had no clue how to program a radio station.
Oh no, not at all. Because the program director, the only experience she ever had was a brokerage show in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do those Canadians know about Mu Radio? Jeez.
Yeah, and then of course the big slay was when they left the chart on the computer. They left the chart on the computer, and the people that were going to be doing advertising were looking, and we're going to be getting 3,000 watts, and we're going to cover all of this area. No.
Well, my all-time favorite was...
Yeah, they fudged the broadcast range numbers.
They sure did.
Yep.
They sure did. I mean...
No. Hold on, guys. My favorite is before I got fired from there, they told me what their on-air slogan was going to be, and they showed me artwork for ads. Why would you show that to somebody you're going to fire?
Yeah.
Why would you show any of that to someone who's going to fire? And it was funny. I was working for another radio station. I walked in and I go, all right, what do you want to know about what they're going to do? I mean, seriously. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was funny because I talked to my boss, and I won't name who it is. I said to him, do I go to feeder with it? He goes, don't play that game. God knows who. Where down the road you could get in you might run into one of these people again. He goes, I doubt it, but God forbid it happens. And you want to work in the business, and the next thing you know, you get hosed. He said, don't do it. I said, okay. But I was tempted to shoot a note to feeder and be like, hey, here's everything you want to know about the launch for this station.
Yeah, and then of course, once they found out that they fudged the range on the transmitters and everything, because I'm the one that went to Coal City with the piece that ended up opening up Coal City's transmitter base to create that big thing when they were just doing a digital link between 2 stations to try to make it one signal. Mm-hmm. Ridiculous. And then once the advertisers discovered that they'd been had, they started pulling out. Mm-hmm. Which then that was about the time they set me up to fail, because they wouldn't help me with my shift and everything, and I kept coming in under the wire and gave me a hard time. And then the last blow was when they sent me to 92.5 and 7 for overnights. Mm-hmm. And that was the end of it, for me, as far as like WVX. And then what kills me is that guy Kevin actually called me one day. Did I tell you this?
No.
Yeah, he calls me out of the clear blue sky one day. He's like, Ivan? I'm like, yeah, who's this? He goes, this is Kevin. I go, what do you want? He goes, look, I'm living at home with my mom, and, I know that, I did what I did, but, can we just let that be water under the bridge? Maybe you can help me out. And, and I just like, you gotta be kidding.
Well,
and I just I hung that phone up. And I also called it for the beat, when the beat came on the air, because the beat actually went and talked to the guys over at Heart and Soul and said, listen, we'll be happy to give you our format for your format because your format is such a good format. And, of course, the owner of VBX, XXY, whatever it was called, said he goes ahead, he faxes a horse head to the other station. Yeah. Well, guess what? The following day, I'm in my car, the beat goes on the air, and it's the same exact format that we were doing over at Heart and Soul, which killed Heart and Soul because the beat had a much bigger, badder-ass signal and everything like that. So that's why they went to the 80s channel. That's when they got Murphy. That's when they got Winston and all of that jazz. They were wiring everything.
The irony is that Fred Winston wasn't even 80s. He was 70s. I mean, he wasn't the 80s. He was 70s. And here he is on the 80s channel. And I'm like, plus, did Fred Winston really do music? Here's the part that I always laugh about. People talk about, I'm not discounting Fred Winston, but at the end of the day, Fred Winston was essentially the buffer between Larry Lujak, who is one of the greatest of all time, Steve Dahl and Gary Meyer in the afternoon. Basically, if you were on WLS and you were that guy who was in between, guess what? You should be popular. You should be popular. You don't have to be great to be popular if you're in between two of the most popular shows in all history of Chicago radio.
And then the fact they go ahead and they get Murphy out of mothballs out in Florida.
Yeah.
And bring him in. He was on Q101 in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's funny. The thing with Murphy was he was here for a while, way past his time in some ways, because advertisers were still willing to put money down on the Murphy name, even though the ratings weren't there. And it was funny. They took a calculated risk to get rid of him. And that's ironically a little bit after that is when they went to go get Manco Muller, and that sort of worked, I think, for a little bit. But
is Manco on the air anywhere?
He is somewhere. I don't know where he is now.
He had that show. I think it was on the U. It was a televised morning show.
It needs to be the Loop.
What was that, Ivan? Ivan, what was that?
I thought he was on the Loop for a while.
Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead and check for sure. I could be dreaming.
You could have some of that KFC from Florida, Ivan?
You see the KFC from Florida.
$99 tickets to go to heaven, man.
Yeah. Is this okay? So apparently he's on 97.9 right now.
Okay.
That's right. It's no longer the Loop.
Well, wait. Hold on a second. I just want to make sure of something. Let me go to his Wikipedia, because it's funny, because the 97.9 thing still comes up. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? I think he might be in between at the moment.
In between gigs?
Yeah. It looks like he was done when they sold it to the Christian rock station or Christian radio station that he
got dropped.
That's the end. But getting back to the Hall of Fame thing, did you catch some of the other names who are in this National Radio Hall of Fame that have been inducted?
I saw Mark Levin. That was the only other one I recognized.
Mark Levin and Dr. Laura Schlesinger. So we've got
Dr. Laura. Oh, yeah, I remember.
We've got our right-wing contingent. Mike Francesa, who was at one point part of Mike and the Mad Dog, which was probably one of the most popular shows on WFAN, and it was one of the flagship shows to the birth of what is the current sports radio format. So my friend, it definitely deserves it. I don't know Joan Hamburg. I don't know Jim Kerr. I don't know Fred Jacobs. The fabulous.
Fred Jacobs I recognize.
But there's a few other names that are here. Like, for example, the Fabulous Sports Babe. The Fabulous Sports Babe was doing something before I heard any other woman really doing what they do today. There weren't a lot of women talking sports on the radio.
No, there wasn't.
The Fabulous Sports Babe was, as much as at times I thought her show, there was certain elements of her show that made me tear my hair out, but at the end of the day, she had her thing going, and she was syndicated. She was with ESPN. She was nationwide every day talking about sports. And by the way, she didn't look like somebody who belonged in a Playboy magazine either, which is an amazing feat. And she's really in reality, she's a pioneer when it comes to women in sports radio. There are some other people that would fit that bill, but nobody well known as Nancy Donnellan, the Fabulous Sports Babe. So she deserves that to no end. Mike Golick and Mike Greenberg, the Mike and Mike show, just ended like a 20-year run. So I'm not shocked by this. This will be interesting, though, because there's reports that both of them are not talking to each other because Mike Greenberg went on to go do that new ESPN morning show, and now Mike Golick is with Trey Wingo doing the morning radio show. I don't think it's on TV anywhere, from what I'm aware of.
Okay, I just have a question. Okay, here's a name. I'm throwing it out there. I mean, I don't know if he made the National, Hall of Fame or not, but Frank McCormick.
Right, I'm talking about the ones who were inducted this year, though, Ivan.
Oh, this year? Okay,
yeah.
Never mind.
The names that are inducted this year. Ivan, Kid Kelly rings a bell, but I'm not sure why.
Who?
Kid Kelly.
It rings a bell.
Yeah, that name rings a bell, and I'm not sure why. Should I look it up? Yeah, let's try looking it up, shall we?
Yeah.
Let me. That name rings a bell. I feel like that's somebody. I feel like that guy was on a station with Howard Stern or something out of New York. And of course, I'm not finding a Wikipedia right off the bat for him. Oh, wait, let's see if this will help. Okay, here. This is from Radio Inc. Jim Kerr did the Rock and Roll Morning Show for Q104.3 in New York, 20 plus years.
Speaking of New York.
Wait, hold on. Let me finish some of these off. Joan Hamburg, the host of the Joan Hamburg Show on WABC, known as New York's first lady of radio. Now, where the hell is Kid Kelly's name? Why am I not seeing... Oh, here, Kid Kelly. Backtracks USA with Kid Kelly, syndicated by Westwood One. On-air host, Sirius XM Hits 1. Music format personality.
Kelly is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Or in the National Radio Hall of Fame.
No, it says he's being inducted, according to this thing in whatchamacallit.
Oh, okay. Recent inductees, okay.
Right, no, this is this year.
Okay.
These are the inductees for 2018 with Brandmeier.
All right.
Then, of course, New York lost one of their own, Dan. Oh, God, his last name. I know his name was Dan, and he DJ'd. He was like there on New York radio for many, many, many years. He just passed on just recently, too.
Oh, yeah, and the old man from Pawn Stars died.
Yeah, he passed on. Yeah, I read that.
Well, and Leon White, a.k.a. Big Van Vader of pro wrestling fame, passed last week as well. So there you go. There's a few. And I feel like there's somebody else that is far higher on the food chain than I'm not thinking about at the moment. But, yeah, I don't know. I hear you, Ivan. I just think, how do we get here? Oh, because we talk about Johnny B.
Yep.
Right.
That was me.
We've been talking about Johnny B. Talking about Johnny B, and the next thing you know, I don't know. Your point is a good one though, Ivan, because the Chicago radio market has always been really screwy.
Well, yeah, it's a shit show, and it continues to be a shit show. I mean, I remember the post we used to have over at the studio. It used to say the starry ass state of radio, which Yeah, the state of radio is sorry ass with its with everything computerized and everything taken over by programs like and just who needs a board op, who needs a personality when you got a program called Simeon doing everything. Simeon, yeah, great. It's so easy a monkey can do it.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. The other part to me is this. You've got these conglomerations that are huge that are out there where you don't need to have, depending on the market, you don't need to have somebody there anymore local. You can essentially do all of this where you've got one guy who is basically doing a radio show from, let's say, Louisville, where basically he can be heard in 7 states.
Well, that's because four big corporations have bought up all of the available radio all of the available radio stations. And once upon a time, local radio, the state of local radio was just for that, for what was happening in the neighborhoods, in the villages, and you had the whole local scene. There is no local scene anymore, okay? Everything has been usurped and taken in and just pretty much swallowed up whole. The FM sides are all bought up by the big guys. The AM sides are sucked up for the cellular towers. And there are some holdouts, but, with every year, local radio dwindles. That's why the birth of internet radio stations and community radio stations, non-for-profits like Chirp and, Lumpen are starting to make strides, in that whole thing. Bringing back radio that, used to be like it was before 1960 with the whole free form. Let's get our local people in there. Let's get our local music in there. Let's get our local sponsors in there and everything without having to be catering to the whole national situation, having, experienced both things, and seeing it in action myself. Lumpen Radio is amazing, for what they're doing in their format. Chirp is also amazing. In fact, Chirp just ended up getting their official tower at 107.1, and it sounds fabulous for a non-for-profit pay station. And Lumpen did the same thing, I think, about a year ago.
But
at 105. What?
Here's the thing, and I don't know. I kind of want to make sure I bring Mike in on this too, but it's a different animal to a lot of people now because podcasting has, like, what we're doing now,
right?
Which is we're doing this show, and really in reality, this show wouldn't exist on mainstream radio because this isn't something that they would feel people would listen to, and yet we know that that's not the truth because it's with the amount of segmentation that's out there and the fact that people got tired of having to basically only get the choices that were there, we're seeing a lot more. And that's the reason why radio is shrinking, because the interesting part to me is they're not learning from what they're seeing from the podcast world. All they're is hunkering down. And it's interesting to me because they're hunkering down, but they're not really learning, or at least not many of them are learning or innovating. They're basically continuing to do what they do, and they're losing. They still get audience, but they're losing audience share, and their markets are skewing older because those are the people who chances are listen to radio, or the people who, quite frankly, don't have it where you can listen to, aren't willing to pay for Sirius XM, don't have internet radio in the car, or haven't been willing to hook something up so that they can listen to their podcasts in the car. But the minute that stuff becomes more and more common and more prevalent in cars,
more available, then people are going to gravitate towards that.
And it's already happening. But the more and more more affordable, this radio. And the sad part is the good news for them is It's not happening fast. It's taking time. It's taking more time than I imagined it would take. It could probably take another 20 years. But in 20 years' time, guess what? They're in for a world of hurt if they don't figure out how to fix what they're doing.
Well, see, but the thing is, what happened with radio, it became a business. Once the companies took over, they run it as a business. But money being the bottom line, so they mechanized it to the point where, it becomes dollars and cents and nothing more. If it ain't broke, we're not going to fix it. As long as it keeps making money, we don't care. And that's why all of the talent has left. That's why all of the creativity has left. That is why, it has become the sorry-ass state of radio. Mike and I had this conversation 15 years ago, okay? And we were talking about the fact that, that the world of radio is going to shrink over time. And guess what? It is shrinking. Not as fast as we thought it was going to, but it is definitely doing that. Because why? Because radio, terrestrial radio, AM, FM, has not gone out and felt the pulse of the public, the very thing that makes it exist for decades, because they have isolated themselves from that. Because they figure, okay, if we throw this at them, and if we throw that at them, and if we get the commercials to underwrite all of the stuff that we're throwing at them, then you know what, that's fine with us. And as long as we make our numbers, and as long as we make our ratings book and our sweeps and whatever, who gives a shit, Because then after a while, it just becomes the dross that has become AM and FM radio. Now, you go ahead and you start listening to the podcast like we're doing, where you got real live people with real live brains and real live thoughts and situations happening. It's got flesh and blood happening around it, okay? It's got thought. It provokes you. You can argue with us. You can agree with us, okay? You can hang with us. But it's alive and it's happening right now. Unlike what most of the things that are happening on AM and FM today has become so electrical and mechanical and thus sterile of any real emotion, which is a sad state of affairs.
In fairness, there are pockets. Like, for example, a station like WBBM, where for people who are not in Chicago, WBBM is an all-news format. That station is never going anywhere because the truth is there's always going to be a need for that station.
Because everybody needs for news. I get it, yeah.
Right, just like with the sports stations in town. I know that, it's funny. In some ways, yes, they fall a little bit into that category, but at the same time, those stations will still be around, and there's a reason why we still have two in this town, which is because of the fact that it's current, and you can't, and really in reality, people want to talk about what happened or what they just saw or
of course.
Then that happens. But
of course. Okay, it's just like you know what? It's just like, liquor stores are always going to be having business because everybody drinks. Grocery stores are going to be there because everybody's got to eat. No, I know. Just like we are a sports town, so we're going to have sports stations. We're a news town. We're always going to have news. But when it comes to the whole creative world of music and entertainment and everything like that, I think we've become stagnant. It becomes just like the Chicago public school system, where it took them decades to finally try to change things up, but not in a way that makes it cohesive to what's happening with everybody now. More teachers' hands are tied and everything, and because they're trying to, again, we're working with the numbers, and we're trying to get to the bottom line, and we're trying to make this money and everything. That's what's happening with that creative end of it. Yeah, sports will always be a commodity because, we're a sports town.
Well, it's live. It's live content.
It's live content. Exactly my point.
Right.
Okay. Just like the news, it's live content. It's never gonna get stale because it's live and it's there and it's now and it's fresh.
Yeah. I feel like to put Mike to sleep. Are you here?
I'm here. I'm just enjoying this conversation.
And any thoughts?
Well, Ivan made a point about sports and talk and news. sports and news is just a small segment of the body that is the radio market. Any radio market could be Baltimore, could be New York, could be LA, could be Chicago. You're going to have music. You need the moms who listen to music at work, at their office. You got the kids who want to listen to the newest stuff and they want to have promotions to give away the free tickets. There are entities that will still exist 10 years from now in radio. But as things get further along the way, as we get older, the younger people, they're getting away from commercials. They can even pay extra to get your commercials off of Pandora.
Yep. Or Spotify or something along those lines.
Yeah. Then that's just music playlists. People want to listen to their own music. They want to listen to what they don't want to wait for a song that they hope they're going to enjoy.
They don't sit around listening to the top 10, 20, 40, or 100 anymore, because they can just as easily go ahead on the internet, pull that song down, enjoy it in its entirety, or enjoy it as one song, whatever. No need for actual.
Yeah, the phone, the iPod. Media. The iPod has changed radio.
I'll take it a step further. Okay. What's hot in music right now? Okay. I pull up Facebook. I pull up Billboard. I pull up a video that shows me Billboard's top 10. Which ones did I like? Which ones didn't I like? If I liked one, okay, I can either buy it or I can figure out a different way to listen to it. Like, for example, I can pull it up in YouTube, and chances are it's there in YouTube for me to listen to for free. You know, I don't need the radio station anymore because I didn't have to listen to the top 40 station to find out what the top 10 hottest tracks are in the country anymore.
This land of Reddit that we live in now, where it's upvote, downvote, where people will decide with their wallets, but if you can get it for free, they will.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
terrestrial radio's free. That's been their pitch for years, saying terrestrial radio, it's free. But you get all that comes with it. You got advertising and local news and weather and sports and all that. And then maybe you'll get to enjoy what you want. Where it's the opposite with your phone.
Right. Whereas I could go ahead, go to my phone, hit a playlist on YouTube, set the phone down. It's everything I want. I don't have to listen to no commercials. It works out great. I hit a Spotify. I hit a Pandora.
Can I tell you the music story about Pandora? You're going to enjoy this. So I went on Pandora and I was like, I want a Janet Jackson channel. In the beginning, I had a Janet Jackson channel. It was great because I hear Janet Jackson. You know what the funny part is now? I had hit enough thumbs and brought another playlist to within the Janet Jackson playlist. You know what's really funny about my Janet Jackson station right now?
What's that?
It doesn't play Janet Jackson music anymore.
What?
It doesn't play Janet Jackson. No matter what I do, I can't get the damn thing to play Janet Jackson. It won't play anything. It's like it plays everything but Janet Jackson, and it's the Janet Jackson station. It believes that this is all I want to hear. I don't want to hear Janet Jackson.
It's like the Beatles channel on Sirius XM. Half the songs are either covers or interviews and all that.
Because I thumb too much and I tried to add some variety into my Janet Jackson channel, as a result, it overtook all of that, believed what it wanted to believe, and now I can't hear a Janet Jackson song on that channel to save my life.
The algorithm is telling you what you want to hear.
Right, Jeff. The algorithm has told them, no, he doesn't get to hear Janet Jackson on the Janet Jackson channel. I was like...
Technology.
And the worst part is you guys know I'm a huge Janet Jackson fan. It's like, this is a special kind of hell. Somebody up there is like, let's fuck with him just a little bit more. Let's make it give him his Janet Jackson.
Let's go ahead and turn the screw a little bit.
Well, you need to start thumbing Janet Jackson a little bit more. Wow, that sounded bad.
I did. Ready? You know what the best part is? I thumb Janet Jackson. I can't get it. Janet Jackson's the thumb anymore. It's to the point where I have to basically turn. There's things where I'm thumbing it down even though I like it. Okay? I'm thumbing it down so that I can try to get Janet Jackson back into the playlist.
First world problems.
Oh my God. Like I said, I thought you guys would get a kick out of this. What did you mention about alcohol, Ivan, about something earlier?
What's that?
You said something about alcohol earlier?
Yeah, I did.
That was job security. I think that was probably what I was talking about.
I said that, yeah. I mean, I mean, people who own liquor stores are always going to stay in business because everybody drinks.
Yeah.
People who own people that buy and sell food are always going to be in business because people have to eat.
Well, apparently,
Yeah, people have to eat, don't they, Ivan?
These French fries are good.
Really?
Well, Ivan's had his French fries.
Well,
A couple trailers dropped before after our last show.
Yeah.
A couple trailers.
Yeah, Jeff posted. I think he saw this. I don't know. He posted the trailer for Creed 2.
Yeah.
That looks good.
Creed 2, which is the continuing. I'll be honest. I liked Creed. I'm a little concerned about where they're going to make this work story-wise because apparently now he's going to fight Drago's son, and it's like, really? This seems a little contrived. What's next? What's next? Is Creed 3 where Clubber Lang's kid comes out of nowhere or something? Or there's a clone of Carl Weathers playing Apollo? Or wait, well, better yet, Rocky had an illegitimate son, and he'll show up and he'll challenge little Creed to a fight because you've taken away my time with my dad. Seriously, what is? Ugh.
Well, I got to see the rushes for Bumblebee.
Yeah, looks good,
and I am intrigued.
It's a step in the right direction.
I am intrigued. I mean, they went back to his original form, which, for what I got to see, in the rush, I'm compelled to want to see it once it gets released. Real happy about that. I mean,
yeah, that's like with Creed 2. That's another movie I need to see by the end of the year. I've finally gotten through all the superhero movies with Ant-Man in a couple weeks, and then I'm in a lull like August and September and October. But then by the end of the year, I've got 5 movies I need to see. I'm like, arg.
No, you're not. You got the Venom movie sometime in October, and then somewhere in there is the Aquaman movie.
No, Aquaman's December.
Right, Aquaman is in December.
Wreck-It Ralph 2, The Grinch, Bumblebee, Creed 2, and Aquaman at the end of the year.
Well, I'm not really sold on The Grinch.
No, me neither.
No, I think it'll be good. I like Cumberbatch. He sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the voiceover, artist, that's all good and fine, but they're deviating a lot away from the actual book this time out. And I don't know. I mean, they put Dr. Seuss's name on it, but it's not really all that Dr. Seuss-like in this variation of what they're trying to do with the Grinch Stole Christmas. They're trying to, market it to a much more modern sensibility, which, okay, I get it if you do it in subtle tones, but it's almost like they're just rewriting it and creating an entirely new story.
No, it looks good to me.
Dreamgirls.
Huh?
Kind of like Dreamgirls.
Yeah, I did write a note. We were supposed to talk about Dreamgirls this episode, Ivan.
Okay, well, let's go ahead.
It seems like a good transition point because Ivan seems to think it's not historically accurate, and my point is you're 100% right. It's not historically accurate. It's not supposed to be. What it was supposed to be was a Broadway show. It doesn't have to be historically accurate.
Well, again, it just goes back to that whole, glorifying situation, be it, stage, be it screen, be it all that, I mean, and also, Dreamgirls actually also was under another name, Sparkle.
Even so, well, okay, it's under a different name. Either way, you want in that particular aspect, you're talking about that you wanted factuality about what happened with the Supremes, and there's some truth to it that this is based on the Supremes, but it is loosely based on the Supremes.
Real loosely.
but that's the point.
It's about as loose as Diana Ross going off with Berry Gordy.
Right, but here's the deal, here's the deal. There's a reason why it's loosely based. Because if it wasn't loosely based, they'd probably have to pay him some money.
No, so yeah, I guess you're right.
I mean,
but then here we go again. Okay, going back to Cadillac Records, going back to the Buddy Holly story, going back to most every artist film that has ever been made, where certain creative license overtook the common sense of the situation and always trying to, cut the corners just so that certain people don't need to be paid. and such. I get it. Some variations of that can be done better than others, but I have yet to see anything relatively close to that in either previous or in current motion picture sensibility.
Well, but they're not looking to have historically. Yes, historically accurate would be nice, but
it would be nice for once.
But at the end of the day, that's not what they're really there for. They're there to sell tickets.
I know they're there to sell tickets. They're there to entertain. Okay, but it'd be just like if they took and figured, okay, let's do Star Wars. The first, second, and third. The original 3 movies,
Mm-hmm.
and they went ahead and they CGI'd everything. That didn't upset you?
I don't know. When you say they CGI'd everything, you mean?
What's this have to do with Dreamgirls?
Yeah.
No. Listen, I'm talking about truth in product. Okay, and when you went ahead and when they released the movies again and they CGI'd certain aspects of the original movies and everything, and I remember right, a lot of people fussed over that. Well, okay, now here's my point. Now, yeah, when it comes to Dreamgirls, and like any music movie or play driven sensibility, I mean, a lot of research ends up going out the window. I mean, I watch West Side Story, and it's just like, yeah, it's a great movie. I cringe because of the fact that the Puerto Ricans sound more like Mexicans, but what are you going to do? Nobody researched that out really well.
Aren't they redoing West Side Story?
I think they are. I think there's another. I mean, keep in mind too, Ivan. Some of these things don't hold up over time either.
They don't.
Well, if you want to talk about, West Side Story came from another era where Donna Reed played Pocahontas, so that ain't gonna fly today.
Yeah.
No, I know.
So.
I mean, they're still showing it as a classic. In fact, Phantom Events is actually releasing it again on the 24th and the 27th of this month.
But here's the thing, Ivan. You're looking at it from the perspective of, it's interesting because you're looking, when you say stuff like that, about there wasn't research done or there wasn't this done or there wasn't that done, you're looking at it from the perspective of film, and keep in mind that when they went and took it to film, they adapted it in the ways that they needed to see fit to sell tickets from what they adapted it from. And that wasn't reality. That was from the Broadway musicals that they brought them from. And so, really, in reality, you're already at the point where you fictionalized it, and now you're taking it from something that, and fictionalizing it even more to make it work for your own means and necessariness.
Okay.
And I think, if you want truth, actually, here's the real question. In the 90s, when they did those, in the 90s, when they did all those on VH1, when VH1 did, like, Behind the Music, was that historically accurate enough for you?
Well, at least it was a little closer to home.
But it wasn't historically accurate enough for you there either.
Well, I mean, they were a little closer to home. I mean, I'll bet one or two things, but at least for the most of it. Did
anyone ever dispute those?
I don't know.
I mean, it's just like the current show. What's it called? Unsung. Okay? Which, that's the current VH1 Behind the Music show that's out there recently. I mean, I know that nobody's going to get the absolute truth because everything happened so long ago. And all those people that might have been on the inside circle of the whole situation may or may not even be around, or maybe people don't have access to them, or they're gone, or whatever. I'm just saying that if you're going to... And as far as plays are concerned, okay, plays are flights of folly and everything like that. Yeah, you know what? It's from the imagination of the writers and all that other stuff like that. Yeah, I get it. All right, and yeah, some of them are better than others. Some of them, are not as good. Okay, and of course, yeah, when you want to go ahead and create it when you adapt it to film, and it takes certain things even further out of that whole context, you know.
Absolutely.
But what I'm saying is, okay, like I said, it's just like with the Buddy Holly story. I mean, probably, you know, in my opinion, one of the worst music films ever made, because, I mean, it just, I sit there and I literally hurt, you know. I mean, yeah, Gary Busey, all right, he did a convincing Holly. I mean, I know half a dozen other actors that would have done a better Holly, but, you know, yeah, that's what they had at the time, and, you know, and the fact that, you know, that Maria Elena Holly, you know, she was allegedly technical, you know, director of this movie, but yet, you know, about 95% of the movie was incorrect, except for the Clear Lake, Iowa concert, which basically was probably one of the most collected parts of the movie that were made. You know, that the part that actually made sense and that actually happened the way it happened. You know, so like I said, if you're gonna make a music movie, okay, I'm not asking for, you know, 100% transparency or nothing like that. I'm not going to get that, but at least, you know, treat the subject matter with an integrity and an intelligence and a well-researched sensibility, you know, and do an honor to that artist if you're going to go ahead and make a movie about him, you know. That's all.
Like I said, I think that what you're looking, based on what I know of conversations I have with you and what you look for in terms of a music movie, I don't know that you're ever going to be happy.
Well, no. I mean, I'm always going to scrutinize things because I'm a music guy.
Well, I mean, I don't know that there's a music movie that, quite frankly, you would be happy with.
Well, actually, that's not true. That's not true. Okay, I mean, you know, there are. I'm trying to think. You know, I mean,
don't hurt yourself.
What good ones
yeah,
were there?
really.
Like,
I'm going down the corridors of my head. I'm trying to find the Rolodex here, but
La Bamba?
That's an awful long walk down the hallway. Another time, another day. But anyway.
Yeah. What about La Bamba?
La Bamba was really good.
Okay.
Okay, and I will give you La Bamba. Okay. I mean, Lou Diamond Phillips and the rest of the cast, yeah, they did a wonderful job for an artist who was only active 8 months. That's how long his career was. His career was 8 months long.
Did you watch that 2-part thing on HBO from Elvis Presley, The Searcher?
No, I didn't get to see that.
It was very well done.
Okay. And then
again, that's more kind of documentary form. It wasn't just an actor playing Elvis, and just more documentary style.
Okay, well, see, yeah, and I think documentary.
That's more up your alley, Ivan, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, see, documentaries, you know, like the one they did on Hank Williams. I love that documentary. It's a great documentary. And I think maybe, you know, you're right there, Mike. I think I'm more leaning towards, you know, what I would like in a documentary than in an actual film, because a film kind of gets away from that. Things need to be factual because they need to fictionalize it for dialogue and whatever.
For flair, yeah, for a dramatic effect or whatever. Just like what we talked about last episode, we talked about the NBC miniseries, The Temptations. That was very well done.
That was very well done.
Yeah, because they had enough time to flesh out all the characters and tell the story.
Was it? I thought it was I always see it on VH1. I've never seen it anywhere.
No, it's originally an NBC miniseries.
Was it really?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was very well done. I lauded for them. Just like when they did the Jackson story, the Michael Jackson story.
Yeah, there's just news. They're making a musical. It's going to be in 2020. Michael Jackson's getting a musical.
By the way, as we record this today, which would be
the 25th.
The 25th.
Michael Jackson's.
This is the 9th anniversary of the death of Michael Jackson.
Yep.
We have gone 9 years without the King of Pop.
And he's still as relevant in music today as he's ever been. You know, I mean, he would have been what, 58 this year?
What do you really? Jeez. Hold on.
When was he born? 60. He was born in
There's no way he's that. Is he that
He was
old?
born in the 60s.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
He had this, the Jackson 5 had their first hit in 70.
Hold on a second.
They had their first hit records in 1970. Actually, in 1969. But then if you count the records they made for Steel Town, they started in 1967.
Okay, I stand corrected.
No, I'm just saying.
What, Julie?
Actually, Ivan, you're wrong. He wouldn't be 58.
No, I didn't say. I'm saying he could be. Well, he was 50 when he passed away.
So
He wouldn't be 58. He'd be 60 today. He'd be 60.
Okay. All right, so I missed it by 2
no, his
years.
birthday is August 29th. I only know this because of Judgment Day.
Right, so he would have been
Terminator 2.
He'd be 59 at the moment and going on 60.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, wow. That's... You never think about him being that at that age range, but geez.
Well, then, and also Prince. Prince was knocking on that door, too.
Yeah,
in the late 50s.
so they're making a movie they're making a Broadway show about Michael Jackson. I think that's cool.
I think that would be interesting. I'd like to see that.
My brother-in-law is a big Michael Jackson guy. He's a big MJ fan.
Well, and you got to imagine that with this thing with Mamma Mia that started on Broadway, where they found a vehicle to put in all those ABBA songs, and that turned into like a huge moneymaker. And as a result, you got Jimmy Buffett doing a Margaritaville. Billy Joel did something with it.
Yep.
Others have jumped on this. As I said last week on the last show, Cher's in the process of putting something together like this too. If those guys are putting something like this together, it's just a matter of time until we got the King of Pop. And I'll take it a step further. Once you get the King of Pop, I'm amused by the fact that given her thought where she is and the iconicness of the next person I'm going to mention, and the fact that she's always had a thing for dance and for music and all that, I'm surprised we haven't seen something where Madonna put something like this together either.
Yeah, Madonna's just been sitting on her laurels over there in England or something.
No, Madonna.
She's been sitting on her hands for
Even
a long time.
Talking with a British accent.
Yeah, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Well, it happened to Tina Turner.
I guess.
It's from living over there. It's like when you live down south, you come back and you sound like the guy who sold the tickets from Jesus.
Right.
I will wear a wire. I will set Jesus up.
Yeah, really.
So the other trailer, before we close out of here, the only other trailer that dropped silently a couple days ago was the trailer for this movie with Steve Carell called Welcome to Marwen. Has anyone seen that trailer?
Welcome to what?
Welcome to Marwen.
Marwen. I don't think maybe I did. It's ringing a bell, but I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I saw it just like a couple days ago. I'm going through YouTube, and this ad comes up for this trailer, like it was posted like 2 days prior. And it's this drama. It comes out in November. It's Steve Carell. And here's the synopsis here from Rotten Tomatoes. When a devastating attack shatters Mark Hodenkamp and it wipes away all his memories, no one expected recovery. Putting together pieces from his old and new life, Mark meticulously creates a wondrous town where he can heal and be heroic. As he builds an astonishing art installation, a testament to the most powerful women he knows, through his fantasy world, he draws strength to triumph in the real one. So it's like he's living this, he makes these dolls. And in World War II reenactment, dioramas or stuff.
Interesting.
It looks like a kind of a tearjerker, but I don't know. It's kind of draw the line where like the 40-year-old virgin, he had his action figures,
Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of swing that pendulum. Where are you going to dance that line? But it's directed by Bob Zemeckis, so I have faith that it's going to be good. But I don't know if I'm going to go see it in the theater, though. I've got my plate's pretty full in the end of the year.
Yeah.
It looks like it possibly Oscar bait. I don't know. But Steve Carell's a good actor, and Bob Zemeckis is a good director, so who knows? It could be good.
It could be good.
As we're winding down, I have a few things for you guys, for you gentlemen.
All right, speed round. Hit it.
Speed round. Here's the headline: 90-year-old selling golf collection of 70,000 golf balls for charity.
All right. I didn't come across 70,000 golf balls unless you worked at a...
R.J. Smith, a 90-year-old Minnesota, has been collecting golf balls for 80 years. The magnificent obsession, as he calls it, has netted him over 70,000 rocks, which sit in 460 crates in his garage. Smith began gathering this ammunition when he was 11 years old, an 11-year-old caddy, and save a stint in the military during World War II. He never stopped. He amassed most of his collection at the Northern Hills Golf Course in Rochester, Minnesota, spending much time there as on the property's bench around the third hole. Quote from Smith: "My wife always knew where I was at. I wasn't sitting at the bar." Smith's pile includes thousands of logo golf balls from automakers, colleges, professional sports teams, with the oldest ball being from 1917, and apparently now they can all be yours. He was recently diagnosed with cancer, isn't sure how far the disease has spread, feels it's time to part with his prized trophies, that his collection is for sale, and better yet, he plans on donating every penny to charity. God has given me everything I wanted in life. I never had to ask, he said. The 70,000 golf balls should keep the worst hack supplied for a lifetime. Smith hopes his collection can be put to good use, although he does want to convey he doesn't feel sorry for those whose slices have found his way into his possession. No, you're supposed to play on the fairway.
How about just slice in the woods for $100? Golfing is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slice.
Yeah, well, I gotta commend the wife. I don't know that I would allow. Most wives would never allow a guy to have 70,000 golf balls sitting in 460 milk crates in the garage.
Well, I mean, that just goes to, collections, okay? I mean, be it for the women in life who will allow you to keep your collections. I mean, for most of my life I had to fight to keep my collections together up until recently. For my 20,000 plus records that I have at home here.
20,000.
Yeah.
Do you listen to all of them?
Yeah, I do.
When? Do you keep track? When was the last time?
In fact, I just did a needle drop show just about a couple hours before I went on the show here.
That's not my point. How do you know you played every one of the 20,000 records?
Well, because it's a ritual for me. I bring them home, I clean them up, I play them. So every record I've ever collected in this collection has at least been played at least once.
Okay, but not twice.
Oh no, not necessarily. I mean, there's, to get into my collection mind is to go ahead. Yeah, I got the ones that I'll play and I'll enjoy and they're beautiful and I'll keep them nice and I'll keep them clean. And then I got the workers, which those are the ones that go out with me when I DJ. Those are the ones I still spin. Those are the ones I shuffle around. And, in fact, I'm spinning a bunch of them tomorrow. And, in the 40-plus years that I've been carrying my satchel around in all points of, Chicago and New York and, Indiana and Puerto Rico and
all the place on fire?
Huh?
Is your place on fire?
Yeah, somebody's burning.
His records are hot.
Yeah, they are.
We just want to make sure if there's a live fire on the show, we can have better ratings.
So that being said, I mean, my record collection, it's just like saying, hey Mike, you got your toys that you display and you keep, and then you got the ones that you're always going to enjoy and transform and do whatever it is that you do, and so that's just the beauty of the whole thing, you know what I mean, when you're collecting like that. And now as far as guys, Mr. Golf Balls and everything, now did he enjoy those golf balls? I'm sure he had a great time collecting them, and He knew where they came from. He knew of their origin. Maybe there's different types of golf balls that they made different materials out of that fascinated them. We all have our reasons, you know what I mean?
I guess.
Yeah, and of course, you know, you got, you know, and believe it or not, a lot of women, not all women. I shouldn't say a lot. I should say there are women that, you know, for most of it, that's a man's thing, you know, that's his thing. And then you got the ones that are truly understanding of it, you know, like Julie, you know, and she's truly understanding of it. I mean, she's been on gigs with me, and she's, you know, and she sees what the collection means to me.
See how he sliced it in, Mike? See how he did that? That's like for later where he goes there, see, honey, look what I did. Look what I said. That was good, Ivan. That was slick.
Is she in the room with you?
Yeah.
No, she's not here.
Maybe that was what the fire engine was for, because God knows if he hadn't slipped that in, he'd have been in trouble.
No, but I did that in earnest, guys. No, I meant that for real, though.
We know you're being sincere, Ivan.
You know, I mean, you guys, both of you, if anybody knows of what I've been through in this life, you guys know for 20 plus years and everything. Anybody knows this to be true. It's you two. You know what I mean?
We know. We hear you. It's okay.
So,
I do have one more.
Okay.
I was trying to get to it earlier. You slipped through. When Ivan was talking about his alcohol, this is where I was trying to go. Gentlemen.
Alcohol, okay.
Gentlemen, we have gigantic alcohol abuse. I don't know if you read this. This happened last Friday. 9,000 barrels of bourbon fall in a Kentucky distillery.
Oh, I did read about that.
Kentucky bourbon.
Oh, my God. Okay, so about 9,000 stacked bourbon barrels plummeted to the ground at the Barton 1792 distillery, home of the brand 1972 bourbon. The building, which holds up to 20,000 barrels, was having a wall repaired. The collapse brought down half of the structure. The police chief said there was no one inside when the roof caved in, so there were no injuries reported. And the only reason I'm laughing is if there's one way to go, it's drowning in bourbon. I think I might have been okay with that one. It's unclear whether the bourbon spilled from the containers while a nearby creek was a concern because of the structure's position on the hill. Representatives from the state's Department of Environmental Protection were dispatched on the scene. Water samples came back clean. Distillery officials did not immediately comment or respond to comment, and the building owner could not be reached. All I know is, as much as they're all concerned about the water supply, I saw these pictures and all I could do was cry.
I can just imagine, you know, why does the movie Bambi kind of come into my mind, and I see Flower going up, it can call me Dumper Flower if he wants to.
The poor rabbits got drunk.
Yeah. all I know is I looked
drunken animals everywhere.
I looked at that picture and I cried. I mean, look at all that Kentucky bourbon.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's like so wrong.
I was in Louisville 2 years ago, and I neglected to get a bottle of Kentucky bourbon.
It's just like an Animal House. They took the bar.
Yeah.
They took the whole fucking bar.
Oh yeah, trust me. I saw that on Friday. I was like, oh my God. I mean, think about that. I mean, you're talking about 9,000 barrels of bourbon.
Wow, that's a lot of booze, man.
Oh man. I mean, oof.
Hope they had insurance.
Yeah, but insurance doesn't make up for the fact that how long do you think those things have been in barrels?
How long is it going to take to replenish that stock?
Oh, an age.
Not to mention,
at least
how long have those barrels been in there?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Now with supply and demand, maybe with this news story, this might be a good thing for the company, at least in the short term, where they can up the prices and create a demand because there's so little of it now that survived the accident.
Mm.
So now it's become rare stock.
Right, and now people will ask for it. If it's good enough, is obviously what you said, 1792?
Yeah, well, that's the brand name. It's called 1792 bourbon.
Okay.
Yeah.
It might not be the origin of the actual company, but I presume it is.
Yeah, I
But,
don't
I mean, a good bourbon, a good drink, a good alcohol, fermentation takes time, to bring it to that consistency. Can you imagine all of that hard work getting, falling and, gone? I mean, that would break anybody's heart,
Yeah.
hold on, I'm looking up real fast just to see what I can find out.
Somewhere on a bar stool, Mila Kunis is crying.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's
not getting a shot tonight.
That's right. It's like the pollution and then the Indian crying in those PSAs in the 70s.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I remember those PSAs.
Yeah.
Where the Indian's walking around and he sees all the lakes all polluted.
He sees the litter on the park, and he just starts crying.
And he just starts crying because, you're tearing up.
Dude, pick up some trash.
Don't cry. Pick it up. You see it there.
Well, like I said, it seems as though I'm not getting a good idea as to when they open their doors, but
I'm sure it's going to be a while, though.
Yeah.
9,000 barrels. 9,000 barrels. That's got to be a real cleanup, man.
Yeah. Well,
hopefully they'll recover and they'll be selling that booze right away.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It's like that Room Place fire from a couple of years ago. Remember that?
Mm.
When the Room Place company, I guess it was a disgruntled employee, left and started a fire in their warehouse, the big Chicago warehouse, the Room Place.
Okay.
I just heard fireworks out of my window.
That was happening over the weekend here.
Yeah.
No, actually, believe it or not, they did really found in 1972. Apparently, they had their 225th anniversary.
That'd have been last year, right?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine some of those barrels might have been around for a long.
Because this is the first time. It might be like locally popular, but this is the first time I've heard of this company of bourbon. Usually, I just hear obviously Jim Beam and the usual.
Jack Daniels.
Yeah, Johnny Walker Red, Jim Beam.
Right.
Things like that.
Here's interesting about it. This is from this was from obviously last year for their 225th anniversary. It says they were as a commemorative 225th anniversary bourbon as a one-time release available only in Kentucky. Distinct batch of barrels were hand-selected especially for the commemorative release. These barrels were aged 10 years before being bottled specifically at 92.15 proof.
Oh my God!
This is special proof to the nod of the year 1792 and to Kentucky being the 15th state to join the Union. The dark, well, again, this was last year, but this was considered a special. So it sounds like maybe they weren't aged as long as we think.
Okay.
But they certainly have quite. If this is a special commemorative release at 10, that means that those bottles had to be those barrels, at least had to be aged. What, maybe 6 months to a year?
Possibly.
Yeah. Well, wow.
Possibly. Well, and if that in that case, maybe it maybe not be as bad off as everybody makes it out to be for 9,000 barrels, but still, that's 9,000 barrels, man. That's a lot of booze.
A great man once said, "There's no more time for crying over spilled milk. Now it's time for crying in your beer."
Mm-hmm.
There's a tear in my beer, but I can't help it, dear. You are on my lonely mind.
Speaking of time, this seems like this could be the time. So, Mike, take us on out.
Yeah, okay. Man. Ivan, are you done eating?
Yeah, I'm done eating.
All right, that's good.
What French fries were you eating? Where from where?
Red Hot Ranch.
What?
Is that local or is that microwave or what is that?
No, that's the local hot dog place I go to.
Red Hot Ranch.
Red Hot Ranch. I'm not familiar with Red Hot Ranch.
Okay, Red Hot Ranch is located on Western Avenue just before Armitage in Chicago, and they're one of the few places that are open till 4 a.m.
Oh, well, there you go.
Wow.
And
why are you eating at 4 a.m.?
What are you doing eating fries at 4 a.m.?
Yeah.
Well, remember, I DJ till 3 in the morning.
Okay.
So I
okay.
usually get a snack before I go home.
Them's good fries, I suppose.
They were great fries. They're fresh cut fries.
And so long as we're plugging eateries. I was Sunday night. I was at Stage Stop up in Wilmot, just over the border in Cheeseland.
Oh, hey, don't you know?
That was pretty good. That's not the best steak I've had in my life, but it was pretty close. They're up in, like I said, they're up in Wilmot. It was an actual Stage Stop that this family owned for like 7 generations.
Wow.
And they turned it into obviously a steakhouse. And the upstairs is like a museum, and they have stuff like there from like the mid 1800s, you know, when people would stay, like a row of like rooms where people would stay the night. It was really interesting. It was good, but it was good food. I was there yesterday. It was good steak. Yeah, man.
What do I want to pimp out in terms of food?
Food.
Well, a lot of it's chain stuff. I didn't go anyplace really lately. What am I saying? I did stop at Portillo's for beef. So,
I was at Portillo's.
Yeah, their beefs are incredible.
Their beefs are to die for.
I think there's a Portillo's in Crystal Lake. I don't think there's one near here by me.
And the chocolate cake is evil. I mean, their chocolate.
No, you ain't joking about that, there, Jack.
You ever had the cake shake? That thing is like freaking. Get a defibrillator next to you when you.
So thick, you can't even pull it through the straw. It's so thick.
Well, because they take an entire piece of cake and put it in there.
Right, exactly, and it's decadent, man. It's so good.
Oh my God,
it's just speaking of cake, I mean, just like when you go to Roser's Bakery over there on North Avenue and Kedzie. Oh, the cakes there are so fresh. That place has been there for like 110 years. Roser's Bakery, and I'm telling you, they've got the best cakes ever.
Wow. We're not going to get that. The only thing I can say is to your thing about fries. I saw an interesting recipe today for corn dogs, in which you and I actually put it up on my Facebook page. Maybe I'll put this over to the Squares page so people can see it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Food porn.
The food porn, which is Mike's probably looking at it now, which is. That they rolled it in batter, but they also then rolled it so that the fries were rolled into it, and then they fried it. So the fries were built into the corn batter for the corn dog. So it was basically like the fries are inside the corn dog.
Oh my gosh, talk dirty to me.
And they had string cheese in the middle of it.
Oh man, I'm so done.
Right. Oh, there's cheese in the middle. I forgot about the cheese.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me.
How do you forget about cheese?
God.
Gosh. I live close to Wisconsin, so it's not easy for me to forget about cheese.
Oh, that's crazed.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Then you and I, we went to the Vienna hot dog place. Remember, Mike? Now there's a dog.
Yeah, man.
Man,
That's
boy,
right.
them things were good that year, man.
I am looking forward. I hope our listeners are looking forward to our next episode of Squares of the Round Table. We really, 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 really appreciate you listening. If you'd like to contact us, please send us a note through the Facebooks. We're on Facebook as Squares of the Round Table Podcast, obviously. And we also have an email address. You want to go that route. It's sotrtpodcast@gmail.com. We are also on Twitter and Instagram at SOTRT Podcast. So please check us out on YouTube as well. We are there as well. Please give us a like and a subscribe. We would love you for it.
Absolutely. And we'll talk more about these wonderful subjects on our next episode of Squares of the Round Table. I'm Jaron Ivan.
I'm Jeff Stein.
I'm Mike Boyle. Thanks for listening. We love you.
Thanks for listening.